Hello everyone, it's a beautiful Monday evening and welcome to the special edition of Business Live. My name is Sandra Esinam Apenu. Now, if you've been following the news lately, you will realize Ghana's aviation sector has featured prominently with concerns over a possible privatization of the K.I.A International Airport. Well, this claim has been rejected, but what is the real truth concerning Ghana's aviation industry? Let's go over to Charles Aite for a conversation with the Sector Minister, Kofi Adda, on all these issues and more.
This is a special edition of Business Live with me, Charles Aite. Today we place a spotlight on the aviation sector. We do know COVID-19 is real. We do know the disruptions it's caused economies world over. Here in Ghana, the situation is not different, especially when various lands and sea borders have been shut down. You could imagine the impact this could have on the aviation sector. Well, to help us understand the situations proper and, of course, open up the entire industry in its numbers and figures to us to understand, we've been joined by the Sector Minister, Kofi Adda, of the Aviation Ministry, here at the Ministry to help us understand situations better. Honourable Minister, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So, first of all, I mean, it's no news. The aviation sector has been really hit by COVID-19. We've seen various airports being shut to international travels and whatnot. Experts are projecting billions of dollars in losses. What has been the case of the Ghanaian aviation sector?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me here. I think you've answered it yourself. Our case is no different. The aviation sector has been hit globally, all because of the transmittal of the virus by travelers. And so therefore, as a result of governments wanting to limit the adverse impact of the virus on its citizens, we've been compelled to close down airports. The airports in Ghana, particularly the international airport, K.I.A International Airport, has also been shut down. And this has adversely impacted on all of the players in the aviation sector. The main operators, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and the revenue that it gets, the Ghana Airports Company, the operator of the airports, and then all the affiliated agencies, whether they're subcontractors, they're service providers, such as cleaning companies or security operators or hospitality-related operators, such as those driving cars and carrying travelers from hotels to airports, from airport to hotels. All those people in the value chain of aviation have been adversely affected, which means that the revenues have gone down, which means that the employment is at risk. Some of them have lost their jobs. It's taken a toll on us and our government, of course. But I think perhaps the most important thing to us that's saddest is that, and the saddest thing is that this has gone down now. We're doing so well. We're really raising all the things that have to be raised through aviation. It's a general agenda of the ministry that we call Aviation-Driven Development Agenda, to use aviation to drive the development of the nation in many facets. And that's coming out of the vision of the president. He wanted to make Ghana an aviation hub and also for the nation to benefit from all the functions of aviation. Unfortunately, we've lost that as a nation, not permanently, in the interim. We're hoping that as we go into the next few months, we might find a way to deal with this, hoping that with a solution to the COVID-19, we all begin to rebound back, and hopefully Ghana will begin to see the benefits of aviation again in terms of improving on its national development effort.
Let's talk about some numbers here, because we do know, as you rightly stated, the aviation sector was really experiencing a jump in the previous years. We did see a 6.7% improvement in international passenger numbers way back in 2019. In 2018, we saw some little blips here and there, and even 2020, COVID-19 has really reared its head. But if you could put a figure to the revenue losses that the entire aviation sector is going to accrue moving forward in terms of the outlook.
Well, I think globally the IATA figures have put the loss in potential revenue in the whole value chain of aviation around $380 million. Okay, in terms of what Ghana is going to lose. But that's not just about the agencies alone in terms of Civil Aviation Authority, airport company, but all the other agencies that are affiliated to the aviation sector. That's what is put up there. In our projections for the year, we're looking at close to 300 and something million Ghanaian cedis that we've realized in the immediate. That is adversely affected. And of course, there are also adverse impacts on the labor, the service provision, and so on and so forth. So these are the numbers that are being battled about. And then the studies are going on to come down to the hard numbers in terms of what the reality is. But a lot of times these things are projections until we pass through the month and see what actually we've recorded. In fact, as we speak, I think yesterday we sent the final figures back to the Minister of Finance through the Labour Ministry for the labour impact of it. And these are figures that are within the Minister of Finance. We're waiting to hear from them as to what it is that they can really do for us in the immediate. The support, again, flows through the entire value chain. There's this assistance that the agencies themselves, the Ghana Airport Company, Civil Aviation, have done for the airlines in terms of not charging them rent. Okay, in terms of reducing the charges for the landing and parking fees for the aircraft and stuff. Those things have gone on. But given that there are no flights coming in, it's virtually no assistance in a way. So if the health professionals tells us that for now, because of the disinfecting that's going on, we're fairly safe in terms of transmitting. Because of the masks that we're using, we're equally safe about that. Therefore, if we sit next to each other, there will not be any adverse impact, more serious than we are confronted with. Therefore, they should take full load until we're advised by the health professionals to be able to do that. I think the government would not take any step in saying that. Take a full load and get all your money back and cover all the cost for fuel and handling charges and what have you. For the excellent job they're doing and the contribution they're doing for national development. I'm
very interested in finding out the exact amount of money based on your projections that we're going to be having the stimulus package for the domestic airlines.
Well, I cannot say for now. The initial submissions were very general. We've not engaged them as to what they've really been able to pick by way of revenue in the past nearly 2 months that they've been operating. We need to look at those numbers and assess that against their cost and come up with hard numbers on what we think finance can do to help them. And again, I say if the health professionals tell us that there's not going to be any serious adverse impact on taking a full load, we will have to look at how to support them on the other half of the passengers going forward. To me, what is going to be 100% of those half passengers capacity or half of it, these are things they have to discuss. And I don't know the numbers for now because even the ticket cost to Tamale, for instance, have gone between 400 cities to a little over 400 cities, Kumasi over 300 cities or so. So we have to add all the numbers together to know what's there. And the team is packaging that to do the analysis for me to see what numbers I can pass on to the Minister of Finance.
The Honourable Minister, I mean, people are going to be concerned. I mean, we saw the Finance Ministry government rush in, to provide stimulus packages for SMEs, for large businesses and whatnot. So for us to be hearing that the numbers are still coming in for the domestic sector and you're still compiling the figures, questions are going to be raised about the urgency the ministry is attaching to the survival of the domestic airline industry.
I think that's not a major problem because there are only two and they're not going to go far, and if there's going to be any package given to them, we're not going too far. We're talking about 1st May to now. So it's not going to be too difficult for the Minister of Finance to say, look, this is what we've been able to shoulder over the past 2-3 months, therefore we can provide you with this to write off part of the cost that you incurred going back, and then going forward maybe this additional that we can give to you. I don't think that's going to be any rocket science to deal with. So, and I think they understand and appreciate and they can accommodate the government's efforts in trying to solve the problem that we're confronted with. The business operators such as the African World and Passion Air, we know them. We know the numbers. We can sit around the table and solve this matter. So I don't think that's something that Ghanaians should be too worried about. And I think the airlines also understand that as well. We've been in touch and I'm sure we can work something out with them.
We know that movement of international passengers has been restricted, but what has been the case of cargo?
Cargo has also been equally affected, not down to zero. But we've been, I think, from nearly 50,000 tons, we've gone down to about, what, 19? I think 17, 19 or so that we're working on, and we're hoping that we can improve on that. We've had, from the time that the airports were shut, we left the cargo open. Primarily because we need to bring some health equipment, PPEs, and what have you, and then also other things that support many other aspects of the economy. So we've been operating there, but it's not a full-scale operation that we've had, and that we're targeting to go beyond the 50,000 metric tons of cargo that they are conveying. So it's equally down.
Is the aviation sector in Ghana broke?
With COVID, yes, everybody's broke. Aviation sector is broke. Industry is broke, service area is broke. Maybe the media side is the one not broke. It's not broke because they're sharing information. Information is free. It's out there. They're picking on the airwaves, and I don't know if you're giving discounts to people who are advertising on your programs, but I think you're the only ones perhaps who are not really broke. But seriously speaking, yes, we are broke as every other aspect of the economy is affected. But what I can say is that Ghana was doing remarkably well in the aviation sector. As you mentioned, some of our passenger numbers went up from about 2.6 million all the way to 3 million. I think when we ended last year, we were about 3,019,000 passengers. That's really remarkable. And we're hoping that this year we'll perhaps be inching our way, if not to 5 million, 4 million. So rapidly going, and all the other ideas that we had, all the other initiatives the President has given his blessing to, to make this aviation hub, were things that we're hoping we'll be able to get more people to come to Ghana. Programs that are related to flying, such as the tourism programs that they implemented. These are things that we're going to really increase the numbers for us. So in the absence of COVID, Ghana was really doing remarkably well. Yes, as far as using the term broke is concerned, it's relative in the sense that if you're looking at what we're confronted with, or what we were confronted with before COVID, in terms of the investment that's been made, and the service of that investment, we're not really in the best position to be able to pay off those loans quickly and continue to expand other sectors. But all the same, aviation sector is a business sector, and so many ideas will have to come on board, many development projects have to be undertaken, many rehabilitations, many other services have to be provided. For instance, the runway that's been in operation for about 30 years plus, that should be redone about every 10 months, 10 years or so, needs to be resurfaced.
Yeah, we shall come to the runway, but I asked the question about whether or not you're broke on the back of the recent strategic partner that you're going in for, which has caused so much controversy. We've had some workers of airport companies express dissatisfaction about the whole situation, and it beats my mind to ask, don't you think the timing was somewhat shaky, considering the feedback you're getting so far? Absolutely not. There's no issue of timing on this. In fact, strategic partnerships have been in Ghana, in the aviation sector, over the past several years. Today, as we speak, we've got the Swissports, which is a strategic partner to Ghana Airport Company. We've got Aviance, which is a strategic partner. We've got Menses, which is a strategic partner. And then there are perhaps a couple of others, which are strategic partners to the Ghana Airport Company. These are partners that come into business affiliation with the Ghana Airport Company. In some cases, they give them the land in return for equity. What I do not see, what I've not seen, is for them to be part of management of those ventures, to make sure that they create jobs for their own people and to monitor what is going on so they can get the revenues that are due them, or whatever monies that have to come from them to the Ghana Airport Company. So the more or less just give a land and sat back. And I think going forward, we have to look at any of this strategic partnership. That should bring a lot more to Ghana Airport Company. And so that was something that we're looking at in terms of what we really do with any entity that sees potential in Ghana that it wants to be part of
the operations of Ghana's aviation sector. How do we engage you? What areas can you bring in to further enhance the development of the aviation sector in Ghana? What can we do to meet you halfway on that? And how do we go together as partners? These are things that have been on the table, that have been talked about over the years. And on this recent thing about the Turkish company, it's not now. They came in about 2017 to look at what they can do. And that's based on what the president said about setting up the ministry on its own, about creating Ghana as the aviation hub for the sub-region. And they see all the good policies of the government and see the prudent management of the economy as good reasons why they should come to Ghana. And being operators in the aviation sector, airport management and infrastructure development in other parts of the world, over 50 countries, they figure, oh, maybe Ghana is a door opener to Africa. So let's come and put in our pitch and hear what Ghana has to say. Then they came about 2017. So engagement, in terms of informal engagement has been on, expression of interest and so on. I came in and found some of those expressions of interest. We moved on further to sign an MOU with them, Memorandum of Understanding, for them to, as an indication of what it is that we can engage ourselves in. The next step was for us now to get approval from government before I formally engage them, or before the ministry formally engaged them, or before the agencies, so the airport company or civil aviation authority and ministry together engage them. That was not done. So there's no agreement whatsoever. There's no undertaking between Ghana and the Turkish company or any other company in terms of partnership. The stages of government involve getting approval for the executive level to talk to you. Let's hear you seriously now on what you have to provide to us. And then let's negotiate that and go back together and say, well, this is the package we have. Is it acceptable to us or it's not acceptable? That's not even started at all. So in terms of timing, let me just say this. It's sad. It's sad in Ghana that you and I have a little bit of more experience than you. Okay, with age and with professional exposure in government. I've seen so much happen in government. But I've never seen the situation, having worked in the various ministries, in labor, in energy, in water and sanitation. I've not seen a ministry where I've been to where people have more or less taken confidential secret documents and given them out to the public, to put it out there even before the minister has reviewed them, even before the minister has discussed that with cabinet. And now it becomes public knowledge that everybody thinks that they've signed an agreement, they're selling the airport, they're privatized. These things don't exist at all. But let me make something very, very clear. The government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the tenureship of Honorable Joseph Kofi Adda as a ministry are in tandem with the Ghana Airport Company management and staff. That we're not selling the airport, that's non-negotiable. We're not privatizing the airport. That's not something we're talking about. We are in sync on that. So you go out there and say the government is selling, when we are actually together on that, you're wasting our own time. The question is, they want to talk. They want to be part of it. How do we engage them? How do we engage them in a better way than what Aviance, Spaceport, Menzies, and I think several, all those companies. Let's engage them better than how we've engaged these people. We've not started. Why do you take that document and put it out there? And why does labor, why does management not come back to talk to us? Bear in mind, as a minister, what you do is that when you get the authorization from the presidency or the cabinet, you communicate that through the board to senior management of the company. This is what has come based on our request for permission to engage. Now you take that up and let's agree on a time frame on how to engage that team. First step would be, what team we put together on our side? How many people will come from the Ministry of Aviation? How many people will come from the airport company? Would they be management? Would they be union? What team do we put together? How do we sit in our own, the confines of our own room and say, look, before we engage these people, let's look for this for us. Let it be a win-win situation. Let it be something that Ghana can benefit the most from. We haven't even done that. So this is what I've communicated to the board, for them to share with the management of the company, for us to begin the process. Now somebody takes this, puts out there and then say, yeah, chobo, yeah, pretty sort of thing, when you haven't even done anything.
It's very
But let me add something very, very important. I come with a little bit of experience, as I said before, and I've worked as a management consultant before, and I've been involved in public sector reform in Ghana since 1991, and very serious public sector reform work that's transformed Ghana. I had to act as a minister and also put on my hat as a consultant to put together what we call concept paper. Concept paper on how do we engage them. What are the preliminary steps that we should take to begin to engage them? If we're going to engage them, what sort of ventures should we look for that we can ask them to put their money if they have the money to put in there? What sort of key performance indicators should we line up? So if they're coming in, we say you must meet this indicator and by this ratio, by this percentage, by this time period. What sort of service level agreements we're going to give any aspect of our aviation sector to manage and deliver service on? These are things that we as Ghanaians, we as a team, we as the aviation sector operators should sit and agree on before we bring them in and say, that's what we're thinking. Now you say you have some funds to invest. You say you have got experience in the aviation sector, in airport service delivery. Now how do you fit into what we have here? Once that is done, we now go to negotiating and see what we need to do. But what is perhaps most important you have to consider is this. Besides the non-sale or non-privatization I mentioned, that thing is way gone to talk about selling and privatizing. But the important thing is this, the personnel, the staff, the management. The government policy is to create employment, which means more people should be working. You think the government will not be shooting itself in the foot to say that let's bring in a partner that will take over the management of the company and lay off people? It beats my imagination for someone to think that we're going to lay off people when we expand the airport in Kumasi, when we expand the airport in Tamale, when we're looking to construct an airport in the Western region or in Upper East region. Who's going to work there?
So nothing of that sort of.
Nothing has even started to begin with.
Great. But it's very interesting when you stated the fact that your suspicions of some documents being leaked here and there. It raises security questions as well. Have you begun some investigation to find out?
We have undertaken investigations. We have identified some people who were the cause of the leakage. Some have even confessed to have given some of the documents out from the ministry to airport company. The latest one that we saw was this concept paper and the executive approval that are transmitted to the board. That went from the board level to workers. That should not have gone. And that we've also been able to identify people who are behind that. Now, the problem is that when you take action on these people, which is standard, usually some people get fired, get suspended, get interdicted. Now, if you take some of these measures, people don't understand. And give you euphoria about the labor and about them saying this, somebody thinks you're victimizing someone. So you have to be tactical about how you deal with this. And that's what's important for us to look at. But it tells you that Ghanaians are not sincere. They're not sincere and wanting to understand the benefit in anything. I'm a minister. You can say perhaps I'm a little better off to do than you, even though I know journalists have a lot of money. But let's say that I will accept the notion that I'm better off than you. I don't have what it takes to invest in airport expansion. I don't have the money to expand the aviation infrastructure. I don't have the capacity to manage world standard operations of certain functions of the airport. If we are able to strategically look for one who can work with us on this, fine. Again, I go back to history. The South African Airport Company was a partner to Ghana Airport Company in undertaking completing the Terminal 3. They were actually strategic partners, and there's documentation to that effect. Did they demonstrate against them? No. Did anybody complain about them? No. When they got to the point of them wanting to be part of the ownership of the airport, it was, no, stop. That's the end of it. So that has happened. So why do we say, well, given that experience, let's listen to what they have to say first. If they're getting too close to where we don't want, go back. We don't need you. And I think that's what's important. So they should be open-minded and sincere and engage where we can get benefit from. And I think the timing that you referred to earlier, it's the right timing. Yes, the initiative the expression of interest may have come much earlier. The MOU may have been signed last year. But where we are now with COVID, bringing the whole aviation sector down, if we can position ourselves very well, strategically develop the infrastructure and prepare ourselves to be able to enhance capacity in service delivery, it may well be so strategically positioned that the vision of the president for us to become an aviation hub, for all you know, as we bound back into operation, we'll be the leader in the West African region.
As a minister, what have you to show, especially when your government is coming back to account to Ghanaians, the reason why you need 4 more years? What have you to show as the minister for the aviation sector?
The last audit that was done, the aviation safety and security, we scored 64%. Okay, when we got assessed last year, April, we ranked 89.89%, rounding off to 90%. From 64%, if we're taking your A-levels, or senior high school certificate exam, you go 64%. And next time you take an exam, you get 90%. What would you say you've done? You've done very well. You've done remarkably well. So we rank the highest in Africa during my tenure because of amendments of certain critical legislation and the introduction of certain outfits of the sector. Introduction of certain mechanisms in the sector that have enhanced revenue, that have enhanced passenger throughput, that have enhanced safety and security.
Honourable Minister, many thanks for having us. We're so grateful for your time here with us. Well, that's it for this special edition of Business Live with me, Charles I.T. For me and the rest of the team, many thanks for watching.